So again, tonight we are going to be talking with RightNow Media, and they are, again, an organization that helps to equip churches. And so I'm excited to welcome in my special guest, Lynn Roberts. She's an account consultant with RightNow Media, and she's going to turn her video on and join us. And so we're glad to have her. Hey, Lynn, thank you for joining me.
Great to be with you tonight and to get to connect with your pastors.
Yep. And so they know we're recording, so we'll be able to share this. And so glad you're here. So again, we're going to talk about RightNow Media and how you help to equip churches. So I know that that you're going to be sharing your screen. So before we do, you want to tell us a little bit about you and how you interact with RightNow Media?
Yes, ma'am, I would love to. So I'm Lynn. I live in Atlanta, Georgia with my family. So I work remotely from my home here in Atlanta, but RightNow Media's office is located in Dallas, Texas. And I don't know if any of you are familiar with Bluefish TV. I don't know if that rings a bell, but that used to be our name back in the day when we would sell DVD kits to churches. And then when Netflix took off and streaming shows took off back in 2010, 2011, we realized we had to quickly evolve. So we changed our name from Bluefish to RightNow Media and started developing a streaming platform. So if someone were to ask me, what is RightNow Media in a nutshell, the easiest way I can describe the resources, it's kind of like a Christian Netflix. And it's for all of your pastors to be able to use it for their own personal walk with the Lord for their family. But it's also, it's just a great resource with so many wonderful series that I'll share my screen and we can dive into.
Sounds good. Well, we're looking forward to that. And I didn't realize that connection with Bluefish. Okay.
Yes, yes.
All right. Well, very, very good. All right. Well, and this is for any size church. You're going to share about how not only our pastors can connect, but also the local church leaders as well.
Yes, and if it's okay, I'll go ahead and share my screen. We can dive in. And as I'm pulling up my screen, I'd love for you all that are listening tonight to just think about the three ways that RightNow Media really tries to serve the church. I think that will kind of help us go into a few different points here. So we really want to help resource all of your people. We want to give not only you and your family, but if your church is interested in having its own RightNow Media subscription, and we'll talk about the details of that, but we want this to be a resource that you can give to all of your people in your local church to resource them in their walk with the Lord. So that's number one, is resourcing you and your family and your congregants of your church. The second thing we want to do is help you try to develop your leaders. And what I mean by that is, I'm sure you have wonderful volunteers, hopefully serving in your church, and sometimes they could benefit from going through some different equipping opportunities, like being able to walk through some training. So I'll touch on that. And then the last thing is we just want to be able to equip your small groups with curriculum to go through. So if you have small groups or midweek Bible studies or even Sunday school classes, and they're asking you as their pastor, hey, do you have any recommendations for a series that we can do or a book study? You can point them to RightNow Media. That's really one of the primary ways that RightNow is used in the church, is it's a small group curriculum. So those are just the three kind of overarching themes that I wanted to start with, and I'll share my screen so you can know what I'm even talking about. Helpful to have a visual. But Sandy, any thoughts from just what I shared, or do you want me to go ahead and dive into kind of explaining that?
Well, I liked what you said about those three things that and I know I really liked how you likened it to, a Christian Netflix. So I think that will help church leaders to understand that it's so much more than just utilizing it as a library of Bible study, but it can also be used as a discipleship tool for families.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. And that's one of the things I'm so excited about, is that we just started adding family guides to our series so that if a family wants to go through a series together in their home one night a week, it's not just a video they're watching on their TV, but now there's a family guide that has questions that you can go through with your children to really turn it into this gospel-centered conversation. So with that, I can kind of open up an example. I hope you all can see my screen here. Is that showing up, Sandy?
Yep.
On your end? Okay. So as I start scrolling down this library, you might be wondering, okay, what am I seeing here? All of these are video series. So everything, think of this really as like a Netflix. So when you come in here, every single one of these series are video series, and the ones that have the orange swoop on top that says RightNow Media, that's just telling you that that's an original. So that's a series that RightNow Media's videography team produced with that teacher. And I share that because these are the ones that are originals are great to use in a small group setting. We intentionally keep our videos short. Our episodes are like 10 minutes an episode so that a small group isn't spending a whole hour watching an episode and then they have no time for discussion. So if your small groups or midweek Bible studies are asking for suggestions, that would just be a good place to point them or to some of the originals. Now I'm going to go to a timely example. So when I come into browse, what you'll see here are some of our most popular teachers that are often searched in our platform. And just to show you around, this is the new and popular. So if you want to see what's trending on RightNow Media, this will be a live list of ones that are being watched the most. Sandy has done a great job putting some custom content, some BCNE content into the BCNE library. And I think she and I are going to keep working on that to continue to offer suggestions on RightNow Media to all of you. So if you click in there, that's going to have some recommendations for you as a pastor. But you can just come on through and just take a look. We have, content for marriages, singles, parents. The Christian Living has so many great series specifically for new believers. So studies on how to read and study your Bible, how to pray and talk with God, series that would be so helpful to get into the hands of someone who's brand new in their faith. And now they're trying to figure out, okay, I have my Bible, and that would have great series that can help them understand what they're reading in the Word. So those are just a couple of the different libraries, but with that, I'm going to open up holidays, and I'd love to point you all to this Advent series right here. So when you open up a series, you'll see a lot on here. You'll see how many episodes there are. So this is four episodes, and you'll see that it comes with a small group study guide. So if you wanted to do this in your small group, you can use this guide that has really wonderful questions to help you and your group discuss the episode that you watch together. But like I mentioned a second ago, one thing that's new in here that we're starting to create are these family guides. So pastors, you and your family, you all may already have an Advent tradition leading up to Christmas Day, but if not, this is just a suggestion. You and your family could choose Wednesday night is going to be family night. And instead of watching a Hallmark movie, we're going to sit down and we're going to watch a 12-minute episode on RightNow Media. And after we watch the episode, we're going to use the family guide to just go through a couple of questions together as a family. Now, you might be wondering, how do I stream this content? So, and if you're thinking that, that's a great thought. You can, and of course, on a computer. You can watch content on the app. If you have the RightNow app downloaded to your phone or to your iPad, you can watch it there, or you can put this on your TV as well. So we're compatible with Apple TV, Fire TV, Roku. If you have a Roku stick plug-in, we're on there. So those are some of the ways that you can watch this just right on your TV as well. So I'll pause there for a second, Sandy. And any thoughts or questions on that, or do you want me to keep moving along?
Well, I love the wide variety of content. I love that. Love that, and I love the way, because I was I was poking around at it yesterday myself. Just kind of continue to familiarize myself with it. And I love the fact that you have some really good stuff for children.
Yes.
So I think
Yes.
that, so I think instead of, again, group leaders or even Sunday school teachers, just throwing in the Veggie Tales, if they do have
Yes.
access, right? They can
Yeah.
put something in that's much more thematic to what they're doing.
Yes, absolutely. I would say hands down, the kids' library is by far our most popular library because for Sunday school classes to be able to have, like you said, content to play for their kids, even as a buffer, like when parents are dropping off or parents are picking up, you can have that in the background. We have kids worship music, we have kids movies. If you guys want to have a movie night for kids at the church. And then, of course, we have just kids series that you can use even for your curriculum for Sunday school. Along with that, if you tell the parents in your church, your young parents, we have an alternative for you to Disney or YouTube or whatever your kids are used to watching. It's called RightNow Media, and it's all gospel centered, and it's really great kids Christian content that your kids can start watching instead of Disney all the time or whatnot. I think your parents will be really excited. So
Yeah.
yes, I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yeah. And I love how like I noticed the Advent series, it's 11 minutes.
Yes.
And I think
Yes.
that is, I love the timing only because as a Bible study teacher myself, I want to be able to not only, have the media to share, but I want to be able to help, I want to be able to teach, and
Yes.
and I think, sometimes videos are too long. And so I
Mhm.
love, 11, 12 minutes is good because now you're allowing people to talk and have that guide. I think that's great.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely, Sandy. And these small group guides that come with the
Mhm.
series, we have just an amazing content team that a lot of them went to seminary and have just a lot of theological background and knowledge and have taken a lot of time to write each of these out. So there are way too many questions in here for a group to be able to go through in one sitting,
Right.
but we do that so that you have plenty of options. So as a small group leader like yourself, Sandy, you could look at this before your small group and highlight the ones that you want to ask during that time together. So I hope that will be helpful.
Yeah. And it's versatile. So you can, as you said, you can use it for small group or for families. Yeah.
Absolutely. And
So great. Mhm.
another question that may be coming up in people's minds is obviously you're seeing the English version of this, but
Yes.
just so you all know, whoever's listening, you can, not all of our series have voiceover, but a lot of our series have subtitles in other languages. And you can check to see here at the bottom of each series, it'll tell you what the language is spoken in, but it'll tell you the available subtitles as well. And then also, if you speak French, for example, you can change the entire interface into French. So it's way more user-friendly for you to navigate. So that option is there as well. And you would just do that when you log in, you would just go into your profile and change it from English to whatever language you desire.
Good. Yeah. Yeah. You and I talked about this a couple of weeks ago, and I love that feature for our churches. So that's
Absolutely.
good. Mhm. All
Yes,
right.
and with that, I'll share one other little nugget about that. We have this really awesome, and you all may spot it before me, but it's called Around the World. So it's this library right here. And this library has series that are spoken in these native languages. So you can come in and see all the different series we have with partners across the globe. And that, so if you, wherever you're tuning in from, if any of these catch your attention, I just wanted you to make sure you see that we have series in other languages. And that's one of our biggest efforts and focuses right now as a ministry is just trying to get the word of God out to people across the globe as much as we can. So wanted to make sure I shared that.
Yeah, that's great.
Yes. And then Miss Sandy, I had just one other thing I thought might be helpful. Well, I really have two other things. Are we doing okay on
Oh,
time?
we're doing fine. Yep.
Okay. So you all see that there's the BCNE library right here, but I want you to know as a pastor, you decide that this is something that you would like for your own church, or maybe your church already has a Right Now account, when you log into your account, if you're logging into your church's account instead of BCNE's account, this will have your church name right here. And what's great about that is this is your church library. So you can populate that library with your own content. You can absolutely bring your content into RightNow Media. So sermons that you've recorded, any kind of videos that you're recording there at the church, audio recordings, anything that you are producing there at the church, you can take and put into RightNow Media in your church library for your people to be able to watch that content. In addition to that, you can also add Right Now series into your church page as well. Basically, the idea is there are so many options on Right Now Media. We want you to be able to spotlight the content you want your people to go through by adding series into your church page. So just wanted to make that distinction with what that library is there.
Yeah, so for example, if I'm a pastor and I want to go back to that J.D. Greer Advent, and I want maybe that's going to be the spotlight for Advent for our church.
Right.
And so then
Yes.
I can just add that to the church page. Okay, got it.
Yes.
Okay. See?
Exactly. You can just create a channel, a Christmas channel, and
Okay.
add that to the Christmas channel. So now when people click on the BCNE page, they will see that Advent channel there, or that Advent series in the Christmas channel.
So people don't have to go searching. If your church puts that information there, they can do that. Love it.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So I'll click in here just to show you. I'm going to do a quick refresh. Okay, so yes, so whenever you click here, you would see Christmas suggestions with that one that we just placed in there. Nice. And then just like at Sandy, I'm not sure if you're the one who put these in here, but just like you have these trainings in here, you all as pastors can do the same thing. You can put trainings into your church library if that could be helpful.
Yep, yep. Yeah, and actually those are some of our older ones, so it's probably time for me to refresh that. So yeah, absolutely. I love that. I love the idea that a local church, so if they've live streamed their services and they have the recordings, then they could certainly house them on their website. But if they have Right Now Media and they want to encourage their people to utilize that resource, then they can add a channel on their church page with their videos on it.
Yes, that's exactly right. Absolutely. And they can even turn it into a module. So not to get too technical or too into the weeds, but if they wanted it to not only be the sermon, but also have questions, like maybe that's what they wanted their Sunday school curriculum to be, if they wanted to do like sermon-based small groups, they could put their sermon on there with questions for the small group to go through each week.
So they can upload PDFs too?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay, cool. Very good.
Yeah.
I love that. Right. Great idea.
Yes, and this is honestly a great segue because I was planning to close with this, but one item that I touched on was that we want you to be able to use Right Now to train and develop your volunteers. So what we're kind of talking about let me go over to the training library. So in this library, we have, goodness, maybe like 1,000 training modules that we've already created for you as a pastor. We have so many great ones on just mental health for pastors, just a series on how to prevent burnout, which, goodness, I know especially at this time of year, you're all just firing on all cylinders. And I hope and pray that you're able to find small pockets of rest and to be with your family. But we have modules on here that you could go through, but we also have modules for your small group leaders or people that are serving with your students or with your kids ministries or with men's or women's ministries. And then we also have discipleship modules, just about making healthy disciples within your church. So just so many different ones in here, but let me go and open up. I'll just click on this one. So what I mean by a module is you'll see it's a little bit different from just a normal video series. if you go in and preview this, you'll see that you kind of work your way through this almost like a PowerPoint deck or like ProPresenter. So it's all slides. So you would just work your way through each slide. And the idea is that you could take this module, let me go back. And if you thought that this would be helpful to send out to a brand new small group leader who's never led a small group before, you can click send and send this off to that small group leader. And then by sending it to them, you are able to then track their progress as they work their way through this. What that means is you can see when they started working on this, you can see answers that they've given you to the slides that had questions. It's interactive. So am I making sense how I'm explaining that, Sandy?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think yeah. And I love that idea again, because like you say, if you're training, and I noticed you had a youth section.
Yes.
Children. So again, this is a great thing if you have Sunday school teachers and maybe you're really struggling to know how to train them. You can again send them an email with the links of the different videos that you'd like them to watch, and and presto, you have your training. You might develop some sheets to go with it, and maybe there are already some questions that come with the different modules or whatever. But again, I think it sounds like they have an opportunity to have something built in.
Yeah, absolutely. They can customize what we've already created, and they can change up the questions. In the same way, you can build your own from scratch. So I know a lot of churches now are creating a growth path for perhaps new believers. You can take that growth path and put it into RightNow Media to send out to your people to be able to go through, and you can track and see that they are going through that. It can also be used even just from a counseling. If you're offering premarital, marriage, mental health, in any kind of counseling, you can say, hey, I'm going to send to you kind of some homework I want you to go through over the next couple of weeks until we meet again for our next counseling session. And then you can see their answers to those questions, and that can be some of the talking points that you use for your next session with them. So
yeah,
hope that helps a little bit.
And as people are watching live here, be sure to drop your questions in the chat. If you have a question that you want answered, we do have a few more minutes. So Lynn, tell us how to get started. So so tell us about that.
Absolutely. So the BCNE has made RightNow Media available to you and your family completely for free. So if this is something that you think, wow, I would love to get my hands on this and use this and explore this resource, it is made available for free for you and your family as a gift from BCNE. And then if you feel like this is something that would be really valuable for your own local church, because of our partnership with BCNE, you can subscribe. You can have a subscription to RightNow Media for your church at a discounted rate. And so I think you had my email up there earlier, Sandy. Yes. And I can stop sharing my screen if you want to pull that back up. But yes, if this is something that you feel like that would be really helpful to have in my own local church, you can certainly reach out to me and I'll get you in touch with the right person on my team. But
so to clarify though, because there will be people watching that aren't pastors. So the free resource is for pastors only. And so, right?
Yes, ma'am. For pastors and their immediate family.
So you're making available to all pastors in the Baptist churches of New England who are active in our network, and so they're offering for the pastors and their families would have a subscription to RightNow Media, and they can utilize the material, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
And then if the church wants, then they can then purchase a subscription for the church.
Yes, exactly. At a discounted rate. Yes.
Okay. And
perfect.
And so in order to get that information, what the discounted rates are, that would go out in the information that I send out. Is that right? When they
Yes,
subscribe?
exactly. Yes, that's right. Thank you for reminding me of that, Sandy. So yes, so you'll be sending out an email with that information.
Right.
Yes.
Well, I'll be sending out, and maybe I don't think I've seen the list of what the pricing is.
Mhm.
Right?
Yes, I'll send that over to you. We have a pricing page that's on our website, so I'll send that to you. And basically, our pricing, that's actually, I should have mentioned that. That would be helpful to know. Our pricing is based on your average attendance there at the church on a Sunday. So if you have between 101 to 200 people, our normal rate just would be $154.99 US dollars. But the discounted rate would be $89.99 because that's the tier below. So whatever your church size is on a Sunday, since this is a church-wide subscription for everyone in your church, rather than paying the normal rate, we would just drop you one tier to the tier below.
Okay, and that
Yes.
like $89 would be per month.
Per month, yes, it's a monthly subscription, or if you want to pay annually, you can pay once for the whole year and you get a discount for paying annually as
Okay,
well.
so
Yes.
that's good to know. So it's a great resource for churches to think about. And again, for pastors, if they want to try it out, they'll get the free subscription and they'll be able to use it for themselves and their family and get their hands on it, look at it and see what it's all about, and then make a determination with their church whether it would be a good. It seems to me if you work out the numbers, I mean, for example, if you have a church of say 50, so how is the pricing? Is
Yes.
it 1 to 100? Is that how it goes?
Yes. So for a church of 0 to 100, it's normally $89.99, but it would be $69.99.
Gotcha. So
Yes,
say
ma'am.
so $70 a month.
Mhm.
And where can you get a subscription for your all 50 people in your church, 50 families in your church, to be able to utilize, as you say, like a Christian Netflix, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Yeah,
and it's even more versatile than that because it includes training and other resources.
yes, and just so you know, because I know this is a lot of information I just shared, but if you decide this would be helpful to have for your own local church, you will be assigned a consultant. It may be me, it may be someone on my team, but we will work with you to help you launch this out to everyone in your church and get it into their hands really easily. And then we will work with you. However, we're available. So if you wanted to talk once a quarter or once a year or twice a year, we would just want to help you make sure you're getting value from this. And it's not just, so yes, I just share that to say you will have a support person to work specifically with you in your church to learn how you want to use it there. And we'll help you try to accomplish that.
Right. And even tonight, we found out that one of our churches is using it. Yesterday, they had they had a meeting with one of your consultants to help
Yes.
them continue on their journey of using RightNow Media. So you're very responsive. So I think that's